You open your eyes, and before you even reach for your phone, there's a low, heavy hum in the back of your mind, a distinct sense that the day is already happening and you are late to your own life. You lie there for a few extra minutes because getting up means facing the reality of the things you swore you'd do yesterday, and the day before, and the week before that. Almost everyone in the modern world is caught in the exact same trap. We try to fix our shortcomings by designing massive, punishing daily routines. You tell yourself you'll wake up at 5 in the morning, meditate, hit the gym, and eat completely clean. This charts exactly how that cycle plays out. Motivation spikes on day 1. By day 2, maintaining all those behaviors is almost unbearable. By day 3, effort plummets to 0, leaving a massive gap filled entirely by guilt. That massive guilt does specific psychological damage. You start to internalize the failure, assuming that you simply lack the discipline gene that successful people supposedly have. You are not broken. That all-or-nothing brute force approach guarantees failure because it is designed in direct opposition to how human biology actually processes change. That massive action methodology survives because it makes an excellent marketing pitch. Gym memberships and extreme productivity courses rely on the illusion that you are one massive leap away from becoming a completely new person. Our neural pathways are optimized for the familiar. When we attempt a radical 180-degree shift in our behavior, the brain interprets that sudden friction as a crisis, triggering a biological response to revert back to old safety. This is why the mind rejects explosions, but responds to whispers, which leads to a highly counterintuitive conclusion. The most effective way to transform your habits is actually to do laughably less. By lowering the barrier to entry to near 0, you remove the psychological friction entirely. You stop fighting your own biology and start working alongside it. The Japanese have a word for this, Kaizen. It is commonly translated as continuous improvement, but a more accurate description is a philosophy of existence, a way of moving through the world with gentle, relentless precision. In 1945, the Japanese industrial landscape was a landscape of scarcity. Every bolt, every gallon of fuel, and every man-hour had to yield a result, or the factory simply wouldn't survive the winter. American manufacturers were taking huge risks with dramatic production bursts. Meanwhile, Toyota engineers were making microscopic adjustments on the assembly line, tightening a single bolt more efficiently, moving a conveyor belt 3 inches to the left. At the time, the Americans thought it was a joke, but within 5 years, those microscopic adjustments compounded. Toyota was suddenly producing vehicles at a level of quality and efficiency that allowed them to dominate the global market. They proved that scaling tiny, daily actions creates a wave of momentum that massive, sporadic bursts of brute force simply cannot compete with. That same philosophy can be pulled from the factory floor and applied to your morning routine. Take someone we'll call David, a guy completely exhausted by trying and failing to stick to intense self-improvement goals. David attempts the 1-minute Kaizen protocol. This timer shows exactly how it works. You force yourself to do exactly 60 seconds of a new habit, and the moment that time is up, you strictly lock the task down and stop, even if you desperately want to keep going. The system runs on strict constraints. First, pick exactly one focus, the single thing that would benefit your life the most right now. Second, shrink the requirement down to a single minute. Third, you build a pattern anchor, attaching this minute to something you already do every day, like brushing your teeth. Finally, you enforce a 30-day lock. You are absolutely not allowed to expand the time limit until a full month has passed. David started doing 1 minute of stretching before bed. A strange thing happened. He actually looked forward to it, because for the first time in years, he was consistently keeping a promise to himself. When you artificially restrict your time to 60 seconds, you bypass the brain's fear of failure. You allow consistency to take root with absolutely 0 risk of burnout. We live in a culture obsessed with the highlight reel, the 30-day total body transformation, the instant millionaire. This constant exposure rewires your expectations to demand immediate, visible validation. But genuine, permanent change is almost totally invisible while it is happening. People think they need to wait until they feel ready to start. But motivation is entirely mythical. You do not wait for motivation to arrive. You force it to generate through the sheer physical momentum of action. A 60-second habit acts as an architectural tool for your identity. It provides the daily evidence needed to convince your brain that you are, in fact, a disciplined person. The Japanese have a phrase, ichigo ichie, one time, one meeting. It means that the exact moment you are in right now is singular and will never exist again. What you choose to do inside this singular moment, even if it is a quiet, entirely unglamorous 1-minute action, permanently embeds itself into reality. It happened, and it cannot be undone. It is easy to fall into the illusion that your real life is waiting for you around some future corner, completely dependent on the conditions finally being perfect. A culture of excellence is never built in a single day. It is built across 10,000 quiet, consistent days. The life you want is being constructed right now, in the microscopic minutes you have today. That is enough time. Start there.